Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Settle, and this is my project for a data analysis for natural resource management. My topic is recycling. Something I have been passionate about and I have a lot of knowledge on is recycling. I currently work at a huge recycling center, and I have firsthand experience with recycling and the market and how it all works. When it comes to recycling, most people think of plastic, and although many materials can actually be recycled and reused, plastics are the most popular, like, for example, your plastic water bottles. According to the Environmental Protection Agency in 2018, plastic generation was 35.7 million tons in the United States, which was 12.2% of all municipal solid waste. That means that out of all of our trash and recycling collected, less than 13% of it was actually recycled, which that's like a lot of missed opportunities for recycling that could eventually become reused. So why is it important to recycle? Here are some benefits of recycling according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Recycling reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills and incinerators. It conserves natural resources such as timber, water, and minerals. It increases economic security by tapping a domestic source of material and prevents pollution by reducing the needs to collect new raw materials. It saves energy, it supports American manufacturing and conserves valuable resources, and it helps to create jobs in the recycling and manufacturing industries in the United States. Recycling is a social issue because many people do not recycle, and a lot of people don't know how to recycle properly, and eventually we're going to have an overabundance of trash and recyclable materials just laying around, piling up in landfills, and it's going to take a toll on us and our planet. We already have so much plastic that's just floating in the ocean, and it's already hurting our ecosystem. With that being said, my hypothesis and research question pertaining to recycling being an environmental and social issue is how much material is actually recycled present day compared to when recycling first started. So how much plastic is actually being recycled? Because before looking at any data, I think that recycling was slowly getting more popular over the years, but I still think that it is nothing close to what it can be, and there's so much more potential. I was thinking that not a lot of plastic is actually being recycled as it could be. But after doing my research, I have pulled some public data from the website of the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. So the data is organized in this chart between the years 1960 and 2018 with the total numbers of plastic generated that's in tons, and then whether the plastics were recycled, composted, combusted with energy recovery, which is an incinerator, and or if the plastics ended up in a landfill. The EPA partnered with the American Chemistry Council to gather the information, and they also worked with the National Association for PET Container Resources to measure the recycling of plastic, and PET is one of the many names of plastic. Then the results were put into this graph with all of the numbers based on tons. The variable for the study would be the options of where the materials could go, such as recycling, composting, combustion, or incinerating, or end up in the landfill. Here are the JMP software stem and leaf plots along with the summaries of quantiles and the statistic summaries for comparing the recycled materials that were actually recycled and the recyclable plastics that actually ended up in landfills. As I personally assumed in the earlier years, like 1960 and 1970, nothing was recycled at all. Once 1980 hit, material started to get recycled, although most of it went to landfills. But even up to 2018, out of the 35,680 tons of material that was generated, only 3,090 tons was actually recycled. The rest of it, most of it went to landfills, so I was not surprised. And there's so much recycled material that is not actually being recycled. After looking at the data and creating my analysis, I agree that recycling has changed over time. It has slowly increased, but I think that we can give the credit to that, to new technology and also younger generations, but it's still nowhere close to being able to live to the full potential that we can recycle. I think there's still some materials that we still haven't found out can be recycled yet, but I think that with the research, I think we will get there. In order to help the numbers keep going up, we really need to educate our youth and start with the younger generations, because the help of the future is really in their hands, and if you start younger, it gives them their whole lives to learn. And then the older generations, we need to tell them why they need to help make a difference before it's too late for their future generations, like their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. By proper education on recycling, I think we can also teach people what can be recycled and persuade them to recycle, and show the dangers and the negative effects that landfills and incinerators can have on the environment, and then just keep researching ways for recycling and new things to be recycled, and just stay up to date. And I think a lot of recycling centers are working to stay up to date. And I think over the years, I think more percentage of plastics will actually end up being recycled. And here are my references. Thank you.